Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. You can watch live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And, of course, you can tune in on ESPNRichmond.com and the ESPN Richmond app. And we're going to continue our high school football coverage, our high school football talk. Ballin VA, the podcast, they're here today to chat a little bit about the high school football landscape. Chase is joining us. Lee, Brendan, and Philip, they're all coming in here today to chat with us about 804 high school football. Guys, thank you so much for taking some time and joining us here on this beautiful Wednesday. Chase, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm super excited for this opportunity. Thank you for having us on and excited to talk some football with you today.
Yeah, of course. I mean, 804 football so far this season. It's been off to a very fun start. We've gotten some really, really fun matchups. Verina, they took on Maury. They fell in that one, but Highland Springs, they fell hosting a team down from Charlotte. But, I mean, those are two big-time games that brought to the 804. And then, of course, we got Highland Springs Dinwiddie, which was an all-time classic.
Absolutely.
I mean, looking at the schedule so far this year, it's been a fun start to the 804 high school football slate.
Yeah, I definitely agree. As stated, Verina played Maury just a few short weeks ago. That game was awesome. But my personal opinion, Verina had multiple chances to win that game. Penalties hurt them a little bit, but you could tell, even though they fell to obviously a Class 5 powerhouse in Maury, they're definitely going to be a threat in Class 4 this year. Hopefully dethroning the Phoebus Phantoms down in Hampton.
Yeah, Lee, I mean, looking at the teams we have so far, who's been a standout to you that's impressed you? So I know it's early in the season, but a team that's impressed you so far.
Oh, that's a great question. We're looking at it was so much parity this year, man. Of course, we can say Verina, but I'm going to say Dinwiddie, man. I'm going to say Dinwiddie.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Dinwiddie has been on the road a couple of games, and then they got that. Actually, the first 2 or 3 games they was on the road.
Yep.
And then to get that overtime win against Dinwiddie was big. I mean, I guess Highland Springs was big because again we're looking at the life after 6. So Harry Dalton is gone. You got Zion Balso stepped up, and they have been playing lights out. So I would say Dinwiddie if you ask me.
Chase, is the same answer for you?
I would say so, yeah, because as Lee stated, Harry Dalton was a once-in-a-generation type of talent for Dinwiddie. Coach Mills, we all know he's going to bring guys with him, and he's going to have his guys prepared for whoever steps up and spots the ball with him. But you don't get a player like Harry Dalton every so often leading all-time leading Central Region all-time touchdown leader. And there's a reason he's playing at USC. That's just he's always been that kind of kid, as Billy Mills said during the podcast, one of the hardest workers he's ever coached. But seeing Zion Boyceau, who coach's son, father's the wide receivers coach, and I believe the defensive coordinator, he just stepped in like, this is my time to shine. Y'all are going to know who I am by the end of this year. And dang if he didn't.
Yeah, Brendan and Philip, thank you guys for hopping in as well on this beautiful Wednesday morning. We're talking 804 high school teams that have impressed you so far this year. And I know it's early. There's still a lot of football left to be played. But for you guys, who have been some teams that have stuck out in the Central Virginia area that you've been really impressed with?
Yes, sir. Thanks for having us. I'm excited to be here. But for me, and you guys were just talking about that Dinwiddie team and watching them at Highland Springs battle. It was one of the better games that we've seen this year. So I was very impressed with Dinwiddie. And like I stated, too, when we do our Tuesday Night Lives, as the game went on, it just seemed like Dinwiddie got stronger.
Yep.
And also for the Highland Springs side, too, as well, they have a new quarterback there. He played really, really well in that football game, and they have obstacles that they're overcoming as well. They were up 14-0, and that game was if that fumble didn't happen, that game could go the other way. So impressed with Highland Springs as well, but Dinwiddie and Highland Springs are two teams that I've seen that I've been impressed with.
And Brendan, as we go down the line, who's the team you're most impressed with?
I like Dinwiddie too.
A lot of people love Dinwiddie.
We talked about this last week on our live as well. Big time players step up in big time games, and Dinwiddie going to Highland Springs in that environment and pulling out that win after dropping down 14-0 shows a lot about their character, shows a lot about the character of Coach Mills and the staff. And so we knew Dinwiddie was going to be great, but we didn't know how great they were till they made that type of win. I also like Verina too. I think Veronica's had a really tough schedule.
Mhm.
They had the loss against Maury, but they've been rolling ever since then. And I think they have a good chance to prove themselves even more as their schedule permits. They got Grimsley coming up. They got Highland Springs coming up. They got a really tough schedule, but they've shown that they're going to be in the mix for that championship in 4 later down the road.
Yeah, I mean, what a schedule for Verina this year. You put Maury on there. Of course, you got Highland Springs every year, the massive rivalry in the 804. But then you go ahead and you're like, all right,
but I'm gonna add to that. You
Yeah.
still got the Hermitage, who
Yeah.
still a quality opponent, and they played William Fleming, who even though the score might have suggested otherwise, but William Fleming's still a constant.
And it's a long bus ride. Like
Yeah.
you got to add in all of that. Like we had Coach Lewis on once, and he kind of said, one, they're a good opponent, but also you got to kind of prep for the postseason with some of these bus rides that you're taking.
Yep.
But I mean, Grimsley, man, like that's a team that has been dominant in North Carolina. They've always are putting out top end. I'm a JMU alum, right? So Alonzo Barnett right now, the quarterback at JMU, Grimsley product, dude's a monster. And I think the quarterback that went after him, dare I say better, I think he was like the number 1 or number 2 QB either in North Carolina or in Virginia. Yeah. What does it say about Verina that they are going out and they're putting games like this on their schedule? Chase, if you want to take that one first.
I'll take it. And I'm going to say this because to quote Marcus Lewis, we ain't ducking nobody. And like when you've got the talent they do, where 3 Division I caliber running backs, quarterback who, even though his stature, he's probably my favorite quarterback to watch because he's like 5'10". Caleb plays like he's 6'4" and has nothing to lose.
And that White family, they got some ballers. KJ's playing at Union, point guard for them. I mean that family's been, and the youngest is balling out on their JV team, doing massive hits. I mean that family's got some athletes.
And their father was a great hooper, according to that. So like, when you play Verina, even hats off to their defense. That's who I want to shine on. When you got a defensive line with probably my favorite defensive player in our area, Jay-Sean Bull Richardson, who
that team's got the weird those nicknames, man. I'm sorry to interrupt, Chase, but you got Sir Paul, Jesus in cleats. And you got Bull Richardson. Bull's not as bad of a nickname, but like you go down the line, it's like Jesus in cleats, and you're like, oh. Hey, respect if you can pull off a nickname like Jesus in cleats, I give it to you. But
wait till you see that kid run, because trust me, it's electric.
You're putting a target on your back sometime. But look, go for him with Sir Paul. But sorry to interrupt, Chase. You can continue.
Just then to add to the nickname, they got a running back named Darren Williams. His nickname's Bam Bam. So I mean, like they're just fun to watch. And Marcus makes it a great when you got a defensive coach who's played a couple years in the NFL with Jay Lou, and you got other guys stacked with coaches who've played college ball or have like life experience. Like their offensive line coach was in the Marines, so he can relay his military time to his offensive line and that kind of stuff. But you know when you play Verina, you're going to get an opponent, and it's been exciting to watch in the last few weeks, and I look forward to seeing the way the rest of the season goes.
Who's been a team for you guys, Philip, if you want to take this one, a team that's kind of surprised you so far this year in terms of how they've performed to start the year?
That's a good question. I'm going to say I like Armstrong. I think Armstrong has a lot to prove, and I think them, being able to take out TJ was a big step for them. I think, now with the rest of their schedule and what it looks like, they could be undefeated going into the playoffs, and they got a chance to make a good run in too. So I think Armstrong has definitely stood out. I just want to see kind of how they play out because the strength of schedule won't be as much going down the rest of the season. But with just one, big game left, I think they can make a run in 2. So I like Armstrong.
All right. And any other shocking teams that you guys have seen so far?
I wouldn't say shocking, but I would say Manchester.
Those numbers that they've put up.
That's what I'm saying. They have a one-track mind right now. And I think their goal is state championship or bust. You talk about certain teams that have that pedigree, but for us, we've talked about Manchester being a team in Division 6 that can challenge, Oscar Smith and Elsie Bird and Thomas Dale in that region too as well. So I would say Manchester for me.
And they got some good quarterback play as well. Like what Landon Abernathy at Manchester's been doing, he's been balling for him.
Oh. But basically, what I'm going to say, and hats off to him because I'm going to be the first to say I was pleasantly surprised by this team, Midlothian, because losing a lot of kids last year. One of my best friends was a starting receiver for Midlothian last year, and his words, he was like, "We're not going to be as good as we are." Gross has taken over and just kept that train moving because Matt Hutchings left, and now he's back at Clover Hill, which is his alma mater. But you can't disrespect a Midlothian team because, like, are they going to be the team that you look on the paper and say, oh, they got a 5-star recruit committed to Ohio State? No. But the kids Gross has, especially his son, Gibson Gross, one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the whole area. But, yeah, just the way they played, special game this week against Huguenot will tell you everything you need to know about them.
I'll second that too as well. I think everybody their answers up here from Armstrong to Manchester, Midlothian. I think that was great. And I love the parity this year because there's not one team that's just dominant and that you're like, okay, we know what they're going to be. But now it's like it helps us to go to every game. You got Trinity that's doing well. You got Benedictine that's doing well. St. Chris pulled up the shocker over Huguenot.
Yeah.
So now it makes us well-rounded to say, hey, we got to go to these games. Thomas Dale, where we were there watching them play. So you just never know. And Glen Allen, even though, they had a couple of slip-ups, they're still showing that they're competitive.
And they're QB, man.
Oh, my God, right. So it's just so much. And then you got to remember, TJ still hanging around, trying to figure it out, So I just love it that you don't just have one team that you just have to focus on. It's everybody, and I love it across the board because that's what we want. We want the 804 to showcase their talent, showcase these kids, these coaches, and everybody. So I love it. This has been a very, very good year for me.
You brought up the privates on that side with Trinity. St. Chris is who I want to focus in on because they've got a kid that I think everyone's been talking about. He was our talk of the town student athlete to begin the year because, by the way, in the offseason commits to South Carolina. Darius Gray's been fantastic. He can run for some touchdowns too. He can block for some touchdowns. But St. Chris to start this season off, do you think they finally have what it takes to break through and win the state title in their division?
I would say, go ahead. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'm going to add to that. No disrespect to Coach Cleveland. Great team. Benedictine's the team to beat. Visa, so much talent. I mean, tight end just got an offer to Northwestern and Miami.
Woo. Two very different schools.
Yeah. But he's even got offers to Alabama and that kind of stuff. Big offensive line. Maddox Cochran going to Wisconsin. Ben Streak transferring back from IMG. Why he did it, I don't know. But either way, that team is so fast and so ready to compete, even with Greg Lilly stepping down and replacing himself with Kurt Von Bargen. Von Bargen's had that train moving, and I'm excited to see when they play Gonzaga in a few weeks at Gonzaga because call me crazy, but I'm calling for the upset.